A warm welcome once again to the third episode of our series on the impact of AI. So tonight's session is called Behind the Algorithm, and we'll be looking at the often unseen ways the artificial intelligence can shape our choices or even our online experiences. It's a very interesting topic, and we're really pleased to welcome back Dr. Elizabeth Milovidov, who is an expert in digital child safety and responsible tech. She has extensive experience in digital law, in ethics, and also in children's rights. And we're lucky to have her with us tonight and guide us through this very interesting discussion. I hope you all enjoy, have a good time, learn and share also your opinions. And Elizabeth is welcome and it's over to you.
It's just so lovely that you're all here. Welcome to those of you who are here for the first time, and those of you who are coming back for a second time, a third time. Really, that just means a lot to me, to Evine, for Religions for Peace UK, because the whole idea is just to provide as much education and awareness as possible. So, as you remembered last time, I like to have a little bit of interactivity. So please feel free to just throw questions in the chat. You can also talk to each other if you find something that's really interesting. I love the hamster. Okay, wait, where's the hamster? Am I not, I'm missing. Oh, there's the hamster. Okay, yes, thank you, Dahlia. I love the hamster too. This is exactly what I'm talking about. This is as interactive as we should be. We should just, because this is, if we were all in the same room, we'd be having a great time together. So I'd like us to have the next 54 minutes together and just have a good time. So oh, wait, I should probably just let you know a little bit more about who I am and what I do. So I am originally, as you hear from the American accent, I am a lawyer from California. I lived in France for, oh gosh, close to 30 years, but now I'm here in London. And actually, Evine, are you hearing me okay? Because usually I have my headset perfect. Okay. And I have had the pleasure of being a consultant and really just looking at all of these things from a different aspect of children's rights, and trying to help digital families. And so a lot of what I do is focused this way. And of course, AI has become something that's of increasing concern to families, to parents, to caregivers, to you. So it's not exclusive just for children. So with that in mind, let's see, what else can I tell you? I was working at the Lego group. So if anybody knows Lego Fortnite, can you put in the chat? Yes, I've heard of Lego Fortnite, because I worked on that looking at digital child safety. Yes, that Paula says yes. Thank you. Thank you, Dave. So that was something that I was able to work at. And now I have just now started a new position at Roblox, where I will be looking at parental advocacy and trying to find ways to reach parents, to explain to them about what to do and not do on Roblox. And oh, Patrick, I'm glad your kids love Roblox. Yeah, mine do too. And what's great about Roblox is that, yes, it is fun and creative and interactive, but you also need to realize, Patrick, that it is user-generated content. So that means it's not always Roblox. These are other people who are creating these games and platforms. So you have to be vigilant. Like you have to be vigilant with everything online, like we have to be vigilant with artificial intelligence. So just keep that in mind. It's all the same thing. It's all about being educated, about being to have awareness about these issues. So let's go. I'm going to get us started. I am going to try to go as, I won't say as quickly as possible, but I'm going to try to pull us through so that way we can get to that interactive part that I like so much. So let's get going. So tonight we're talking about the impact of artificial intelligence. So I've already set the scene in the first two webinars, so I'm not going to, bore us with all of these things about what is AI because we've covered that. But we are really going to look at some of the manipulation, right? Some of the issues that we see with artificial intelligence. So this whole idea of manipulation. it's kind of big. It refers to just this idea, this act of influencing someone's beliefs or their actions. And there are many different ways to do this. So, one of the ways that people are doing this, and that I want you to understand, oh, hang on, I can't see you anymore. There we go. Is understanding just again that definition, right? So when you need to understand manipulation, you need to understand that we're talking about the act of controlling or influencing others. And it's not just, in some sort of, innocent way. It's clever. It is unscrupulous. And we are manipulating AI, and it can take place in so many different ways. And most of the time, we're not aware that we are seeing targeted messaging that takes advantage of our own individual biases, our own thoughts and emotions. And that is the whole idea behind this manipulation, which, of course, is what the word manipulative means. But why? Why AI makes it all the more powerful? Obviously, because we're talking, it's online, it's internet, right? And so anything that we take, whether it is good or not so good, when it is amplified on the internet, it is just widespread. It is more powerful. So misinformation plus artificial intelligence, that is an extremely powerful tool. And so again, as we talk about why, it's because it can be we have rapid data processing, right? Everything's faster. So AI can analyze things, it can process just huge amounts of data like in seconds, right? And just a fraction of the time. And so this is making sure that things are really efficient, right? Personalized experiences. So AI, it also creates this idea that, your own personalized user experience, that it's really according to your individual preferences and your behaviors. So just to give you a really simple example, just with AI, right? Not with manipulation. But if you're sitting there watching Netflix, and let's say you've been watching a bunch of Westerns, right? And then the AI is going to create and be creative with your personalized user experience, and it's going to serve you up more Westerns to look at, more Westerns to view, right? This is according to your individual preferences and behaviors. And while this sounds like a good thing, it can be wonderful. It can serve you up more of what you want, but sometimes it's not so great. So we're going to talk about all of these things. Scalable manipulation. This is the idea that we are able, AI, misinformation, you're able to target numerous individuals simultaneously, right? And so you're able to enhance a marketing strategy or even engagement strategies if you're trying to get people to do something. Oh, let me go here. Just trying to do so many things on my screen at the same time. Okay. So, I've talked about misinformation as it's a powerful tool, but let's talk about generative AI and false content creation. So we've already seen that there is realistic content creation where generative AI, it can produce really things that look realistic, right? Text, images, videos, that it just looks like authentic content. There's also this idea of misleading information, and we can use Jen and I'm sure that so many of you have been just really using a lot of Chat GPT or Gemini or Perplexity, and you're able to create some pretty credible looking content, but you have to also fact check it and understand what is there. And there's also this idea of distinguishing fact from fiction, right? Because generative AI, really, it starts making up things sometimes. It can hallucinate. And so it becomes really difficult for people to understand what's true and what's not. It becomes difficult for them to verify the authenticity of content. And I see that somebody asked something in the chat. Oh, Sydney said, I love ChatGPT. Yes, I know. And it has saved me too, Sydney. I have to admit, I do like ChatGPT. I also like Google Gemini, Microsoft Copilot, Perplexity. I mean, there are a lot of large language models out there, but the difference is that when you are older or an expert, or you really know the area, then you're able to like critically think. It's kind of like if you asked a really smart college student to prepare a report on something that you know and that you've worked on for 15 years. And that really smart college student comes back with some ideas, But you as the expert, you know what's real and what's just completely and total makeup stuff. So this is a bit of how generative AI can work. And so that's why it's so important that we can continue to use our critical thinking. So again, some of the issues when we're talking about artificial intelligence is that looking at micro-targeting and psychological profiling. Does anybody remember Cambridge Analytica, right? Where that whole scandal, it highlighted how micro-targeting and psychological profiling can be used to manipulate voters, and that it's AI tools that can analyze user data, and it can create messages that really, really resonate, that make people say, "Oh my gosh, yeah, this is me." That is like some of the beauty of what ChatGPT can do. I don't know how many of you have used it, and it says, "Wow, that's a really brilliant idea that you had there, Sydney." I say this because it's happened to me, and I'm like, oh, wow, that was a great idea. But maybe it wasn't. Not quite sure, but it's things that resonate with us, right? So then we're talking about psychological profiling. And so this is this idea that we're analyzing individual behaviors. You've all seen the different television series where we have the FBI profiling someone. But here it's AI, and we're able to, kind of tweak the preferences so we can tailor communication and influence voter decisions or influence purchasing decisions, marketing decisions effectively. So one other thing here is AI data analysis tools. So we can also see that AI tools, I mean, again, I'm talking about this huge amount of user data that it can process. And again, it can create personalized messages and enhance engagement and manipulation. Once it's published, right, it really can have some confusion, some polarization, some behavior change. And it makes it difficult for people to understand, what's fact, what's fiction. And we can see greater political polarization as individuals, they start becoming really, really entrenched in different views, different narratives. And, what we all understand is that it is absolutely fine to have a different view and a different narrative. If we're sitting here in the room and I like the color purple and you like the color green, it's absolutely fine, right? It's not a big deal. But where we start having, and we can say that, let's call that our political polarization. It's absolutely fine. We respect each other's preferences. We don't have to agree with each other, but it's fine. But sometimes with AI, we have these different levels of misinformation and other things, and causing this confusion. It really, really creates this polarization where the people who like purple now they love purple, and they don't even want to look at the people who have green, and the people who have green are just like, don't want to talk to people who have purple. And that's not how humans are. We are meant to have communication, to discuss, to perhaps try to persuade each other's different views. Why not? But always to be respectful. And I think that's something that's missing a lot when we're online. Behavior change as well. The spread of information, especially misinformation, it can result in some significant changes in behaviors. And this can also change the way people react to social issues just because they don't know. And that's something, and it's they don't know for this or for that, and they're trying to find the correct sources of information. So again, let's look at some of these psychological impacts of AI, and this is that driven misinformation. And I think this is so, so interesting because I'm sure that you will be able to identify with some of these things that I'm going to mention here. I know that I can. It's happened to me where I'm like, oh yeah, it was this and that. Oh, maybe not so much. So the first one that you might know is this idea of false familiarity, right? We call it, for psychologists, I don't know how many of you have studied psychology, but it's this illusory truth effect. And so what does this mean? So this effect, it highlights how familiarity, how because we think we know it, we're there, it's like, oh yeah, we've seen it a bunch of times, how this can actually distort our perception of truth. And that means it makes repeated statements more believable. So if I sit here and keep telling you, the sky is purple. The sky is purple. Hey, the sky is purple. Keep on saying it. You might sit there and be like, yeah, that kind of bluish purple effect. I can see that, right? So it's things like that. I see you, Evine, looking up at the sky. It is purple, isn't it? It's a bit purpley blue tonight. there's also the impact of that repetition, as you could just see, where I can say whatever, and regardless of its accuracy, I even had Evine looking outside to see if the sky was purple. It's not purple. And then we talk about the role of AI in this information spread, so it can disseminate information rapidly, and this is wonderful for technology. But we just have to make sure that when we're spreading things, that it's not, again, this sort of illusory truth effect, or that we're spreading misinformation. Because how brilliant is it to spread truthful information, to spread fact-based information or evidence-based information? That's the way things should be. That's how we've been able to communicate and exchange with science, math, technology over the past few years. And we've also had scientists able to disprove things because that information is out there and freely available. Confirmation bias is another fun one, because this is that tendency to seek out information that confirms your existing beliefs, right? And so AI algorithms, they really can kind of cater to this. So the definition of confirmation bias is really that's what you're looking for. You're just looking for things to confirm your own bias, hence confirmation bias. And the impact of AI algorithms, it really can reinforce this confirmation bias by suggesting content that may not be factual, that aligns with users' existing beliefs. So it could be that all of a sudden Evine starts receiving more and more content that talks about, I don't know, purple sky, or all of a sudden she sees the movie The Color Purple. I don't know. It's just that you start seeing more and more things to reinforce this bias. We also have an issue as misinformation spreads. We have trust erosion, and just this whole idea of people don't believe institutions, they don't believe in the truth, right? And obviously this can have really profound consequences for just communities. So what's the first? When we talk about the impact of misinformation, public trust, right? People just no longer believe that the library is truly a library, or that your teachers are educated, or that they have degrees to be able to teach you whatever, or that even that your doctors are medically qualified. So this is like leads to a lot of skepticism and doubt. And again, don't think that I'm saying that you shouldn't be skeptical of some things, and you should. You should be skeptical, and you should do your research. Yes, I'm so happy that you're talking in the chat. Thank you. Um, Toby, you're saying that you've fallen victim to confirmation bias. Oh, yeah, please let us know. That would be lovely. And yes, this was a big deal. So then we talk about consequences for society. So we can have societal discomfort, discontent, division. Not cool. We trust, this whole issue of trust. And again, I'm not saying that there are people who are not trustworthy, because of course there are, but I'm saying when we have technology stepping in and creating more of this sort of misinformation, we need to address it. So that way we can rebuild our trust in institutions. We can restore this sort of idea, the concept of truth in society, because it's essential. So again, how algorithms shape what you see. Because don't forget, the whole idea here is we're talking about the impact of artificial intelligence. We're trying to get you behind the algorithm to understand what is going on. And here we know 100%, all the academic researchers that I speak with, the psychologists, the internet developers, the internet service providers, et cetera, they know. Algorithms play a crucial role in curating the information that we encounter on a daily basis. So we're going to now take a little peek at how they influence our perceptions and how they can contribute to misinformation. So for example, some engagement-based curation. I gave you a bit of an example about that with the Westerns, right? So, I mean, that's what these platforms are doing. Please don't forget that so many of the times when you're using these tools, if it's free, you're the product, right? Because why would they just give you all these great things to use for free? So many platforms that are prioritizing the content that drives engagement. They want you to stay on. They want you to keep your eyes on the page. I also have issues. I sometimes like keep looking at things and a little bit too much, and then the algorithm keeps me there because it keeps serving me up what I want to see. But sometimes, and I haven't seen this in my own feed, but maybe you have, where it drives that engagement, and it's often at the expense of quality. Oh, no, that I can say I have seen that and truth. And now that I think about it, yeah, it's also true with truth because I remember my son came in and he was like, Mom, those are all AI generated photos. And I was sitting there looking at something and going, oh, wow, this is really cool. And I didn't realize it. So it happens to all of us. So this can lead to this sort of proliferation of sensationalism and misleading information. So what I really want you to understand, I agree, Sydney, your TikTok algorithm does know you. It really, really does. It knows me as well. And I mean, there have been studies that have shown that TikTok will serve up information or other social media feeds that serve up information because they know you better than you know yourself. And when you add that with, yourself looking at it, doing a Google search for something, um, it can be quite interesting, the things that it pulls together for you. So, as we go back to this engagement-based curation, we're looking at how it prioritizes your engagement. So it's again, sometimes it's just not the greatest thing. Dahlia is saying, who else has noticed that if you mention something, say a holiday, then you keep getting ads about holiday stuff? Oh yeah, Dahlia. And you know what? I have heard so many people tell me, oh, but that's not true. That's not true. I ask all of you to try that with your phones as you go online looking for something, just something simple, IKEA sofa, or talk about McDonald's, and you will start seeing how many ads you see for McDonald's and IKEA sofas. We all know. So the reinforcement of views, I'm sorry, impact on information quality. This is this engagement-driven approach, and it can lead to, sensationalist stuff and misleading information and just sort of distorting public perception. All of this, we know it has consequences for truth. And this is what we're talking about, how it's so important for you to keep going with the critical thinking. So personalization, the more that the algorithms personalize this content just for you, only for you, and for what you're thinking, right? Don't forget me with my purple sky. The sky is purple. So this personalization is going to create isolated information environment where I am only going to be exposed to other views that reinforce my own, that talk only about purple skies. That's it. Not anybody who's seen a blue sky or somebody who saw a yellow sky. Nope, it's only going to be purple skies. So obviously this can lead to isolation. This is a whole thing that we call isolated information environment, where you're in this sort of information bubble and you no longer have, you're no longer listening to other people. You're no longer listening to diverse viewpoints or ideas. And it can also, again, reinforce your own ideas, that same sort of content, the things that just align with your own beliefs, reinforcing your own existing opinions. So if I'm in there in a group and everybody's saying, yeah, purple, 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 it's going to reinforce my idea that the sky is truly, truly purple. And so this impact on perspectives, of course, it can have isolation, and it can limit your critical thinking and the ability to even appreciate other people's opinions. And these are the things that are, we see this time and time again. Probably not so much with this audience, but I do see it with younger teens, with younger people that are just not always, engaging in critical thinking so quickly because it's just entertainment and they don't realize that they are falling into these types of bubbles or echo chambers. Ooh, so what's an echo chamber? So here, this in an echo chamber, again, you're only interacting with people just like you, right? Again, this is leading to reinforced beliefs and increase susceptibility to manipulation. So, what is an echo chamber? It is an environment where you're just there and it's like, hello, hello, hello. And you're just hearing, yourself, hello, hello, hello. Um, Reinforcement of beliefs, right? So you're continuously reinforcing the interactions with like-minded peers, and you're limiting exposure to diverse viewpoints. Again, the same sort of thing. And obviously, you can be more susceptible to manipulation because your critical thinking is a little bit lesser because you're not thinking so much. Davis said that he set up a new dummy account on a brand new device. Uh-oh, this sounds good. The content TikTok sent me changed from what started out as what felt like randomly selected, and within 2 hours is back to the content I was seeing on my real accounts. Wow. Yeah. So I just got rid of TikTok to have my life back. Oh, Dave, you know what? You're killing me because if my 18-year-old son were here, he's always after me because I go on TikTok every once in a while just to have a little diversion. I like looking at the magicians. I like watching the dancers. And it just sometimes happens where you're just like you get sucked into a vacuum, and I too I need to get my life back. So actually I am going, yeah, cooking and restoration. But see, exactly. It's something that's like innocent and it's like no big deal. But then you start seeing the same thing, right? I know. I know. I'm with you, Dave. I'm with you. I love it that we all have kind of the same experiences, but like with different topics. It's great. So what are deep fakes, right? So this is something you've probably heard of. And in fact, I was going to show a few videos of deep fakes, but then I said, it's okay. I'm just going to keep this going because I'm sure you have all seen something. But this whole idea is that really, I want you to understand that deep fakes, they are truly, truly a significant threat for us right now in this whole age of AI. I would say deep fakes, misinformation, and actually, for me, as someone who's been in this space for 15 years, the most fundamental threat that we have in this age of AI is that we really are not engaged in AI literacy. We are not engaged in trying to understand, not us, because we're all trying to understand different things, but that is the biggest problem is because people who don't know, if you don't know, how can you deal with it? Yes, Toby said he saw that deep fake of Obama by the actor. Yes, there was a really good one. I didn't show it. Jordan Peele. Thank you, Patrick. Yes, it was Jordan Peele. I was going to say, if you get a chance, people Google this on your own and watch it. I was going to show it and I thought, maybe it's a little bit too risque because Jordan Peele, the actor, does a deep fake. He sounds just like Obama, and he says some things that Obama would never say, which is why I didn't want to show it to this crowd. But please feel free to go look at it yourself, and you will see how good deep fakes can be. And this was a few years ago. So thank you both, Toby and Patrick, for mentioning that. So again, when we sit there and talk about it, let's talk about some of the implications of deep fakes, right? So again, what is it? Well, they use AI again and machine learning to create realistic, super realistic fake videos, fake audios, fake images. They can convincingly even mimic real people, which is wild. So, I mean, I don't know how many of you heard stories where a parent, again, sorry, it's because usually children and young people are my domain, but where a parent will receive a phone call and it's like the daughter saying, "Oh my gosh, help me! I'm lost. I'm in some other city. Can you send me some money?" Or, I've just been kidnapped. Really, it goes very, very far. And the parents are like immediately sending money. And then, they call their child later and it's like, "What are you talking about? I'm at school." So there is a lot of that going on that is amazing. Yeah, yes, Gareth, those scams have gotten really popular, which is amazing because again, goes back to that whole idea of critical thinking. If you don't know, you're going to sit there and think, "Oh yeah, why not?" I mean, how many of you on your phones have received notification from your bank saying that you have insufficient funds, you need to do something quickly, and if you look at it on your phone, it looks quite real and it could put you into a panic. But if you go and you look at it on a computer, you're going to see that that email address that says, HSBC Bank or Wells Fargo if you're in the United States, or I don't know, BNP Paribas if you're in France. If you look behind it, it's going to say something crazy like, I don't know, robot 6433777722244444. And it's a scam. But when you're on your phone, you don't see any of that. You just see that what's highlighted. So there are a lot of things like this that are happening. And again, it's critical thinking. I can't stress that enough. So when we're talking about, again, how does this work? Again, AI and machine learning, it's this realistic mimicry, right? So these technologies, it just looks so good. Even as you're sitting here looking at this original and the deep fake of course, the actor on the right is Tom Cruise. It kind of blurs the lines because everything in there looks exactly right, except, it's Tom Cruise's face, but yeah, it's not Tom Cruise. Um, I don't know if you saw there was a woman recently who, oh goodness, who was it with? I can't remember. If anybody in the chat, if you remember, she thought she was talking to, I want to say Brad Pitt, but it wasn't Brad Pitt. She thought she was talking with someone and she sent all of this money. And of course, it was not the person. Dave said, everyone who talks to me. Okay. John says it helps the man in the original picture already looks like him. Yeah, that does help. Just like it helps that Jordan Peele is black and Barack Obama is black. So it does help, but really, it's just different. So does anybody remember that? What I was just mentioning? I just can't remember the story. It was a woman who got scammed online and she sent a lot of money and she thought she was talking to an actor. Oh, Paula says it's French. Was it Leo? No, it wasn't Leo DiCaprio. Um, Patrick, I thought it was Brad Pitt, but I just can't remember. Oh, it doesn't matter. I will find it later because it's just driving me crazy now. But really, the whole gist of it was like, are you kidding me, lady? Why is Brad Pitt going to call me, Elizabeth Milovidov, and ask me for money? Okay, really. It's just, yeah. But if he did call, I don't know, Evine, I might have a little bit of trouble. Okay, so then let me just keep going here. And as we start talking, and I hope somebody, you know what, I'm going to say, Paula, would you check? Oh, thank you, Dave. You found it for me. Okay, well, I can't click on it right now. So will somebody click on it for me and tell me who was the actress or actor? Because I really want to know. Oh, it was Brad. Thank you, Dave. Thank you so much. I'm glad you're here. See? I thought so. I thought so. So when we start looking at the types and of videos and audio images, I mean that was Brad. Then there's Barack Obama, but look, this is the fake Zelensky, right? So we have like these high profile cases where it's fake Zelensky saying, surrender, and this shows the potential for deepfakes to create significant confusion and misinformation. And so we see things with these manipulated videos. Again, I've talked about that, where it can alter the appearance and speech of individuals. We've got audio recordings, mimics real voices accurately. Again, I don't know how many of you saw this. If you have young children, there was something with Epic Games with Fortnite. And recently they had Darth Vader in the game. And of course, it was not Darth Vader. It was AI mimicking the voice of the actor Earl Ray Jones. And I think it only stayed up for about a week. But still, they had some issues there. Altered images, they can be digitally manipulated to create false representations of people or events, and this can enhance the deception. Sydney, is it legal? It can be legal if, for example, I give the authorization of someone to use my voice and my likeness and my image and my voice and my AI avatars, etc. That can be legal. I don't know in this case if he was able to do that since the actor has passed away. So I'm pretty sure that his estate was the one fighting, saying, wait a minute, we might have given you authorization to use his likeness, but we didn't mention AI likeness. Again, not 1000% sure of the actual facts, but the story is there. So I encourage all of you to sit here and listen to me and say, is this misinformation? Is this fake news? I'm going to go do some critical thinking and do some research. That's the best way to find out the answer. Okay, so I'm going to keep on going. What is the danger of not knowing? So if you don't realize how AI is impacting you, I mean, this is huge, right? You have no idea what's going on. We saw with Facebook, Cambridge Analytica. We saw with so many other stories. You don't know. So if you don't know it's fake, it can shape how you vote, how you shop. It can make you scared. It can make you act in a different way. These are huge implications, right? Because if you can't discern that it's fake information, I mean, anything goes. And I think that's the reason why I really wanted to have this conversation. Because again, it's absolutely fine if you disagree with me that the sky is not purple. But if you're relying upon false information, then we start having some issues. Realistic threats. So we have the implication of AI-driven manipulation. So it can pose real threats to elections, it can help facilitate scams. I saw quite a few of you writing about scams in the chat. It can enable social engineering tactics that exploit individuals. So for me, this whole idea of social engineering, let me just explain because I think threat to elections and scams, you understand that completely. But this idea of social engineering, this is something that is so interesting. Again, I'm going to tell you after this webinar, please Google the phrase social engineering, because it's just this idea that you manipulate individuals into revealing sensitive information or taking harmful actions. And so you're really manipulating people. You're really sort of preying on their emotions to make something happen. It is really some wild stuff. And you can do social engineering for good and also social engineering for not so good. The whole idea is still manipulative. An erosion of shared reality, right? So this is this idea that misinformation it is undermining our understanding of what is real, what is not. It's creating divisions in society, right? So because people they have a difficulty to find common ground. It's going to just increase distrust among individuals and communities because who can you believe, right? I don't know. But now it comes to that time where I like to bother you just a little bit and have you come on and play some games with me. So just to keep it a little bit interactive, I just want to see, what's going on. This is a different game than what we did last time because last time I was kind of testing you more about AI, but here I'm really going to go into some fake news, right? I really want you to um, try to understand what are some of to see and identify the manipulation tactics that can happen within a news feed, right? Because this sort of hands-on approach, it really will highlight, I hope, some of the practical implications and some of the practical consequences of AI manipulation. So if you're ready, we're going to do this. And I'm still looking at the chat. So Evine, you keep me going too if I miss something in the chat. And it's only 5 questions, so don't worry. I'm not going to keep you for too long. Okay, so I would like you to choose the headline that you think is false, that you think is fake, right? From the examples below. There is one answer only. So read all three, and you tell me, and you can just put 1, 2, or 3, because I don't have numbers. So man uses live alligator for his baby's gender reveal party. Is that fake? You're going to put in 1. You think it's fake? Teen influencer received millions of roses from a secret admirer. Is that one fake? Driver tries to pass Homer Simpson license off as real to police. Is that fake? Larissa thinks of Homer. Okay, that's 3. Number 1, Paula, John. 2, Shirley, rfpuk, 2. Toby says 1. Interesting. Gareth is saying 3. Oh, I love seeing this participation. Catherine and Patrick both say 2. Okay. Would you like to know the answer? I'm sure you would. Dun, 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 dun. Teen influencer. Yeah, so that means that somebody actually did try to use a live alligator for the baby's gender reveal party. Somebody actually tried to pass Homer Simpson's license off as real to the police. Okay. So yeah, yeah. Yep. I know it's crazy. Let's try again. How can you check if an ad is a clickbait ad? So this is a lot of what I was talking about with where we just like start clicking on things, right? So how can you check? Well, 1, by clicking on it to see where it goes, by reading the text to see if it makes any bold claims like you've won or you won't believe what happened next. How many of you have seen headlines like that? And you won't believe what happens next. So go ahead and click. Or by sharing it with your friends to see what they think. I love this. In the United States, there are statistics that show, I want to say over 55-year-olds, that the majority of fake news and misinformation is spread by people over 55. So here it's like by sharing it with your friends to see what they think. Mm. Okay, this one looks pretty good. This one looks good. Everybody's saying Toby said three, two, 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 two. Sydney said one, two. Larissa two. What is it? What is it? What is it? Of course, it's two. By reading the text, you don't want to click on anything, people. You don't want to click on it and you don't want to share. Sydney, we're not clicking on it. Sweetheart, if you do, you don't know what's going to happen. And we're not going to share it because we don't want to keep sending and passing on this misinformation, right? Okay, so let's keep going. I love it. I love it. I love the participation. You are awesome. Which of these things would you do to check if something was real online? I won't say this is a trick question, but it's kind of a trick question. So, number one, you can only pick one answer. Use fact-checking sites to check what they are saying about the story. Number two, go beyond the headline and look for misspellings on the page in the site address. Remember, I was talking about that on the phones. You look for those kind of crazy website addresses, false data or images, or you use reverse image check. Oh my goodness. Is there anybody in the audience who understands, who knows what reverse image search is? Because I love that. Yay, Paula. Yay, Patrick. You use a reverse image search to check if an image has already been used somewhere else for something else. Toby, yes, you can use fact-checking sites. I agree. And same with you, John. I agree with reverse image, but you can do all of them. And you should do all of them. That's this whole idea of critical thinking. Yeah? Anybody look up reverse image search? Has anybody done this before? Use the reverse image search? It's really cool. Yes, Paula's like, I did. And yes, Google has one. It's very cool. So you can put the image in, it'll do a reverse image search. It will handy for shopping. Go, Catherine. Go, Catherine. Yeah, it is really handy. There's also some, I want to say, I think it's called Google Lens. You can also use that for shopping. Oh my gosh, Catherine, look at that. Everybody's, you're like lighting up the chat. Everybody's loving that. So please, people, keep sharing these tips. You see this. This is beyond algorithms. We're also sharing real life experiences here. Okay, so yes, the answer was all the options listed because this is what we're doing. We are people who think critically and who go beyond and above. Okay, number four. Which of the examples would you report because they are fake? There's two answers. Two. You get to choose two. The man losing his voice but singing his own opera. The miracle drink that will help you lose 20 kilos in just 3 days. It's only $19.99. Or become a millionaire overnight by investing 10 pounds in this gaming product. And I think I've given the answer away on this one because when I took the screenshot, the green is still clicked. Did everybody catch that? Yes, of course you did. You all saw that 2 and 3 are highlighted. So yes. Yay, perfect scores because I gave that away. So obviously the man losing his voice but singing his own opera. Yeah. Last one. Very well done, team. You guys are doing great. You are thinking, and this is the whole idea. But you know, what's wild is that you can see it takes a minute or two, right? We're sitting there thinking, and when we're online, we're not doing this. We're going through quickly. We're just moving along, and that is the power of internet and devices that we're just not always doing the way we should be doing, which is to go slow. We can, opposite of that whole idea, that mantra that was a few years back about move fast and break things, go slow, build. Okay, so which of these accounts are more likely to be real? 1, 2, 3, 4, a robot likes political Greenpeace, Earth First group, Rachel Crackers, 200, blogger and activist for right-wing parties, Anne Wood, mother to Jerry, 5, and Tom, 4. But why is she giving away personal information of her children based in the UK? See, now you're just clicking 3 because it's highlighted in green. What if that's wrong? What if it's wrong? Why is she giving away the information of her children? Thank you, John. Thank you. Yes. Thank you, Toby. Are we thinking? I could have set you up by, giving that for the first time. Catherine said 2 and 3. This time, Catherine, if you go up to the top, it says pick one answer below. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, so yeah, the answer was Ann Wood. Verified tick, that was the key there. That verified tick doesn't matter if she's given up all the information on her children, which we're not supposed to do. Please don't do that. And yeah, Catherine, I would have to say that number 2 looks pretty good, except the idea of crackers. I'm just like, I don't know. Yeah, blogger and activist. Yeah, for trading prices. I don't know. That could be like a code name, but yeah, that was kind of a different one. And actually, even the Earth First group, it's just like, we see everything these days, right? So it's all out there. Yeah, suspicious names for sure. Um, but I think that's the thing, Paula, is that the names themselves are suspicious. And if anything, that just kind of makes it look funny. But we could say Anne Wood. I mean, her last name is Wood. That's suspicious, right? We could say that if we wanted to. You could say it for anything. Okay, so let me leave you with some ways to just spot manipulative AI technique tactics, because you really have done a great job just seeing some of these things with the fake news. But in order to combat this manipulation, you really need to recognize the tactics that are employed by artificial intelligence. So I'm just going to show you briefly a few, and then I'm just going to open it up for any questions in the chat, because I know sometimes people like to talk. Is that, you're looking out for extreme emotional language, right? So this is the things like, don't forget to buy and look now to see what's happening next, because it's trying to provoke strong reactions from you, to make you less rational, to make you just want to go and click and just, woo. Things that are trying to cloud your judgment, right? And so this whole idea with AI and even just fake news and manipulation is that it wants you to make decisions that are just based purely on emotion and not reason, right? And obviously, there's times when it's good to have to base your decisions on emotions, but really, when we're online, I think we also need to be thinking. Here in the UK, I have to admit, I know this has nothing to do with AI, but I think you'll all understand. Here in the UK, every once in a while, I'm watching television and there will come a commercial. And the commercial will show, I don't know, donkeys being beaten with the saddest music in the world, or kittens that are, with that are blind, and I'm just like, oh my gosh. And it's just extreme images and representation, and it's really trying to lead you to make a decision based on emotion, which is, oh my gosh, I gotta pay, I've got to save all the donkeys, I've got to save all the kittens. But if that were the case, we would all be bankrupt, because we'd be saving everyone and everything. So I think, yeah, I see, yeah, many of those on Facebook too. I think that you need to pick your cause. And if you have one and you want to save the donkeys, to go for it. But, sit there and look, and also then go back and do your research to check to see if these organizations, how long they've been in existence, how much of what you contribute actually goes to support the animals or the people or whatever it is. But I think I just wanted to give you a real world example so you can see how it can happen online. When emotions are really running high, what happens? Oh, you make an impulsive decision, right? How many of you have seen something shopping? It's like, oh, I've got to have it, got to have it, click, 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 and then you buy it, right? Of course, these things happen. And so that's the whole idea for so much of this. Unverified sources, please be wary of those, right? We need to validate our sources. The using unverified sources, it can lead to misinformation and, of course, some really potentially harmful decisions. Repetitive content, we've talked about that. This repetitive messaging can signal manipulation. If you're seeing it again and again, it can represent a coordinated effort, right, to really kind of sway public opinion. And last but not least, I'm going to say, if it's just too good to be true, you have all heard this expression before. When we are encountering sensational claims or visuals or something that just seems too good to be true, obviously, think people, and teach your children to think as well, because these can also serve as just bait, right? Because it just looks so awesome. You're just like, oh my gosh, it has to be this. So I am going to stop us here and stop my screens. And I'm just going to say, I'm going to open it up to see if you have any questions. Oh, thank you, Dahlia, for putting that question in for some of the participants to see if anybody has any questions, if there's anything that you would like to talk about more or things that you've seen that's happened to you. Because again, this session is for you, just to really help you. And I really like Dahlia's question though, is just like your key takeaways, what is it that you're social and thank you, Patrick. Social engineering manipulation. Yeah. Um, those are pretty hardcore. And the idea, I mean, like again, social engineering it's just kind of it is what's happening now. I think people who are studying psychology and technology and able to understand a lot of, the emotional impact, the psychological impact of what's happening. I feel like that's kind of the future with what we're seeing. Paul is saying very helpful. Thank you. Yeah. Oh, good, Sydney. Good. I think, yeah, we should be. I mean, all of us should be a little bit more cautious. I mean, you're saying with scams, that's, because you will know it's a scam, but it's like, I think I would say be more cautious with everything that, everything that you're reading online, that you're seeing, the images that you receive, the social media feeds. I would also suggest, I once had a mom who did this with her children. I don't know how many of you are parents, but what they did was, as you know, for some of these short form video platforms that have a lot of these algorithms that keep things going, their child was perhaps 11 years old and was asking for a TikTok account. And the mom decided to create a family TikTok account. And so every Friday they would watch it and they would curate the feed. They would fix the algorithm. They would look at like positive content, things that like the family could see together that she wanted her daughter to see. And after 2 years of doing this, that algorithm knew the family. And so when the child turned 13, the mom was able to turn over the account and know that her daughter was going to get some of the benefits of AI. And that is what I wish for all of you, that you understand and that you've listened and that you get the benefits of AI. Because one of the things I do not want to do is scare you or have you believing that, oh my gosh, this is so scary and I'm just going to turn it all off and never use it and never use ChatGPT or Google Gemini or Perplexity or Microsoft Copilot or Canva, which also has AI in it, because I think that you are all seeing that you're getting more and more AI in your work. Dave said he'd be watching dinosaurs and math videos. Oh, Dave, yeah. Until the algorithm starts sending you more dinosaurs and more math videos, because the algorithm on YouTube is going to serve you up more of what you watch, right? But I think we've all seen the shift. And actually, I'm going to ask you that. How many of you have seen the shift in the past, I would say 6 months to a year? And let me know. I'll give you my story first. So when I was first working, in a company, they were saying no AI. Employees cannot use ChatGPT. Nope, 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 nope. And now you're seeing a different change, right? Where it's just like, okay, so for example, if you are using Microsoft Copilot, how many of you are already using Excel or Microsoft Word or PowerPoint? So if you're using Microsoft Copilot in your enterprise suite, Microsoft already has all your information and all your data. So therefore, that's why companies are now allowing employees to use Microsoft Copilot. It's really interesting how things are changing. I mean, you're not supposed to put up confidential information, but generative AI can be very helpful, but it's all the more reason for you to be very discerning, very critical as you're using it. Now that you know that it can be manipulative, things cannot always be true. Yes, Sydney, I see that. So you're allowed to use AI at work. That's fantastic. I just hope you're using it responsibly, safely. And John says we have ChatGPT Enterprise. Oh, okay, cool, cool. And then Amelie says, I don't think companies will fall behind if the employee. Oh, I think companies will fall behind if the employees don't use. That is what we're seeing, right? It is going a lot faster. And again, like I said, I want to be positive about technology. I want to be positive about the future and digital. The whole idea for this webinar and these series is to create awareness. And so with these last 2 minutes, I'm going to hand it back to Evine.
First of all, thank you very much, Elizabeth, for a very engaging, very helpful presentation, and also for all the participants for, well, participating, because this is what makes the session so interesting, to share your opinions, to hear your experiences. We really hope that you enjoyed the session and that you'll come back. Thank you.